Welcome to Arun and Ramya's classes. Sociology is a subject which originated in 19th century, and therefore we study a lot of early sociologists and their contributions as part of the subject. Among the people who created sociology the way we see it now, the name of German sociologist Max Weber plays an important role. So today we are going to check the important contributions of Max Weber to the subject matter of sociology. So Max Weber is a German sociologist, and he belonged to the formalistic school of sociology. That means he wanted to keep the subject pure. That means he believed that sociology is a unique subject which doesn't share much with the rest of the social sciences. So that's why we call him as, belong to the formalistic school. Also, he wanted to develop unique methodologies to study sociology because he believed that the subject matter of sociology is totally different from that of natural science. So using the same as natural science may not yield the desired results. So according to Max Weber, sociology is a comprehensive science of social action. So he gave all the importance to the meaning, the subjective meaning human beings attach to their actions and interactions. So when you see a person doing something, with which intention that person does the same matters a lot according to Max Weber. In this connection, Max Weber distinguishes between four major types of social action. They are called Zweck rational, Wert rational, affective action, and traditional action. We'll see them one by one now. Zweck rational is rational action towards a goal, and here the person is planning to achieve something, and in order to achieve that, does something with proper thinking and planning. Wert rational is also a rational action. That means here also the actor uses his or her thinking, but the idea behind this action will not be a materialistic goal, but it will be done with the purpose of a value. By value, here it could be anything, and because of that value consciousness, this person is performing this particular act. Then there could be affective action. That means the pure emotions. The person will be acting on the spur of a moment based on a sudden insurge of an emotion, be it anger or sadness or happiness. There could be another type called traditional action. This is an action guided by custom or habit. People just do it because they've been socialized to do the same. So this is called traditional action. So together, I would like to say that rational action is you think before you act. Effective action is where you act first, then you may think about it. And traditional action, you don't think at all. So that's how we could easily differentiate the three. So in real life, our actual actions may be a mix of the same. Weber is well aware about this. He just classified this, but each of our things which we do could be sometimes a mixture of these one or two things. So that also we need to keep in mind. In reality, you may not see them as very pure or, only related to one aspect of it. So Weber developed this social action typology because he was concerned with the modern society and how people are different in modern society when compared to the past. So that's why he done this study, and he was able to find out that there are more rational actions in modern society compared to the traditional society. So that's what I just mentioned. The strict rational action towards goal is more you could find in society. So Weber's discussion of the social action is part of another methodology which he developed, that's called ideal type. An ideal type is a mentally constructed one which you construct and then compare with reality. So this is a tool which he developed to study human society. That to study anything, you first construct a model of that and compare it with real situation. So this is an analytical construct or a measuring rod with which you can, check the real situation. So ideal type, it could be any institution in the society which has its own existence. So, as I told already, they are not exactly the concrete reality, but they are a description into which we could compare the real situations. Max Weber's study of bureaucracy is a classic example of his using of this ideal type. So, as part of his analysis related to the rational action, the rational thinking in order to achieve goals, Weber was able to find out that in modern society, because of its large-scale enterprises, the structure of bureaucracy is inevitable. Because bureaucracy represents all these rational action in a big kind of enterprise. So, this bureaucratic coordination of human action is a distinctive mark for social structures. Because this, we are talking about the 19th century, where we had the beginning of capitalism, and capitalism is always connected to large-scale enterprises. In order to study this organization, Weber developed the characteristics of an ideal bureaucracy. We could quickly go to the characters. There is a hierarchy. That means there should be somebody in the top, then below. Like that, it has a definite structure and there will be a hierarchy. Then there is impersonality, like there will be fixed rules which will be applied to all the people concerned. There will be, the rules will be always written, which will be applicable to everybody. Then the promotion based on achievement, specialized division of labor, and efficiency are some of its general characters. So, bureaucracy, again, we are going once more to the characteristics. There will be a fixed chain of command, information flowing up and down, which will be part of this hierarchy. Then, impersonal rules, which clearly states the duties and responsibilities, and people will be selected for filling up these posts based on certain qualifications, and there will be a selection process as well as a process of training to, to improve the efficiency of this selected people. So altogether, it works on the principle of efficiency. To maximize efficiency will be the goal. So for large scale of planning and coordination, any kind of society will need a bureaucratic kind of organization. That's what we need to remember here. So there will be consequences, both positive and negative, for growing up of such kind of an organization. Yeah. And bureaucracy of Weber, while we studying that, we need to think about authority also. Authority is what you call as legitimate power, like the other people are ready to obey you based on something. So Weber was interested in on what basis do men and women claim authority over others. So he again come up with types here. He again used ideal types and come up with 3 types of authorities: traditional, rational legal, and charismatic. Rational legal authority is based on the rules, and as we just see, the bureaucracy is a best example for rational legal authority, the authority based on law. Then you have traditional authority, like people who belong to a particular gender or people who are elders, like that, all these things can be called as an example of traditional authority. Then there is charismatic authority, where that individual's personal qualities give them an authority and people will be ready to obey them because of this personal qualities. Again, it should be kept in mind that there could be a mix of things in real life, like a traditional authority person may have a lot of charisma, or similarly, a rational legal authority person also could have a lot of charisma. So in real life, you can't exactly keep them in watertight compartment, but there could be a mix of things. Then we come to the magnum opus, the most important theory, the most important contribution of Max Weber, the Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism. So he was concerned about how people move towards more rational action. So that rational action and coming up of rational legal authority. So Weber was wondering about the factors which influenced in such a change. So in Western society, what facilitated this change? So that is what he was concerned about. So Max Weber, being a contemporary of Karl Marx, was aware about the change in economic system. But again, he was telling that, the values and ideas of human beings could be an important factor other than the economy, which caused social change. So by checking these values and ideas, Max Weber obviously inspects religion, which could be a source of these values, and he's trying to find out whether there is any connection between religion and economic development. So he, as part of his examination, he examines different religious groups of the world and their economic connection, and what caused people to abandon their traditional religious beliefs is his major area of inquiry. Then he was able to find out that this Protestant ethics, which is particularly popular in England, it has some direct connection with bureaucracy, not only bureaucracy, it has some connection with the growth of capitalism. So this Protestant ethics, which is also known as Calvinism, by a name which it got from its founder Calvin. So the Calvinists believed in work is worship kind of principle. That means if you do good work, that is a significant indicator of your assured place in heaven. That means if you are economically successful, that denotes that God is pleased with you. So you are either among the elect or you are not. So your worldly success indicates that you are an elected person to go to the heaven. So this encourages people to work hard and acquire wealth. At the same time, this encourages people to not go, luxurious in their way of life, but all this accumulated wealth should be invested properly. So an encouragement to create wealth and an encouragement not to indulge in luxuries automatically will lead to investment of the wealth, which is basis for capitalism, where the very essence is the investment of large amount of capital. So this particular aspect of Calvinism, Weber believed that has paved the way for capitalism. He studied non-Western cultures, but in none of these cultures, he was able to find out this kind of a direct correlation between an encouragement for economic activities by the religion. So that positive sanction, that explicit recommendation for people to indulge in economic activities, Weber was able to find only in this Calvinism or Protestantism. So these are the more important contributions of Max Weber. Let's quickly check the comparison with Weber and Marx. When we go for the social stratification concept, we could go elaborate, but just 2 points of difference here. Like Max Weber believed that the alienation documented by Marx has little to do with the ownership of the mode of production, but was a consequence of bureaucracy and the rationalization of social life. He made the single class classification of Marx into a threefold one. So Weber believed that the alienation is totally because of something else, that is because of the rationalization of social life, not because of the ownership factor. Now, the second thing here, Marx always talks about a class division, a division based on economic status. Max Weber says that this economic status is just one. The status, that means the lifestyle of a person, also matters when determining the position of that person in society, and also party, that means the political connection of that person also matters when it comes to this position. So that is the difference between Max Weber and Karl Marx. So these are the more important contributions of Max Weber. We need to understand the application part, like each type of social action and their names and types. Then 3 types of authority, characteristics of bureaucracy, the important factors of Protestant ethics, the ideal type as a mental construct. All these things one need to remember in order to have a good understanding of Max Weber. So a status group, according to Weber, follows lifestyles, education, occupation, family background. So mainly it is lifestyles, because other things are minor. So for your exam, NET exam, This kind of question is more possible. So this is lifestyles which we are talking about here. Verstehen is a term associated with who. So again, Max Weber. Verstehen is roughly translated as the subjective interpretation, which is a central character of Max Weber. So that's a word which you need to remember. So again, Weber's definition of sociology, intuitive understanding of social action. So we need to remember the most important definitions of sociology as part of our preparation for NET. So here again, it's Weber. Ideal type. Which one is not the purpose of formulating ideal types? You need to be careful about this kind of question. Read all the 4 options here. I'm telling about not the purpose, okay? So, finding solutions of social problem is not exactly the purpose of formulating ideal type. Ideal type and its benefit. Useful in qualitative research, comparison with empirical reality, method can be applied by anybody, only sociologists can apply. These are the 4 things, and that's not a very difficult thing once you understand. Its function is the comparison with empirical reality in order to establish its divergencies and similarities. So we compare it with reality and, to establish the connection. So these are the important areas which you need to study for Max Weber. And just because his explanation is quite clear otherwise, it's not very difficult for you to understand what he's trying to say. And don't forget about his basic ideas I mentioned in the first place. The one who want to make a unique subject of society with unique methodologies. So that's all about Max Weber. Thank you.